How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks. We focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen, which was down 4.76% on the day. I wasn't feeling well, so I was unable to do a video for you guys yesterday. It did close at $1, so right at support. So I got to give you that update. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1, being down 4.76%. So pretty much closed right on a support level. And then when we take a look at the range on the day, on the low, it tested 95 cents. And then on the high, testing $1.04. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 30.379 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 56.295 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, and we did see some weakness in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 37.99. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that Mullen is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. And if you remember what I was saying in my previous video, that it was looking fairly bearish, and of course this trend is continuing. We continue to have lower lows and as well as lower highs. So this is not a good sign. So if we decide to pull back further and break through 95 cents, that's where we can start testing right around the mid 80s. And if we break through the mid 80s, which I'm talking about is around 86 to 85, then we can start testing 75 cents. And that's where we want to actually see if we could have a double bottom reversal happen there. Because that's what happened the last time when we got to around, sorry, it wasn't 75, it was around 76 cents. So if we can bounce off of that level and make a move, let's say going to around 90 cents, that's definitely some good profit right there. But I'm not betting on that because we need to have bulls that are going to be stepping in at that mid 70-cent level. If they do not do that, then Mullen can pull back to where it can start trading in the 50-cent range, around 54 cents to be exact. So be fully aware of that. If you want to see a turnaround or if you want to see some sort of a reversal out of this play, of course it needs to come to the 21-day EMA, which is at $1.21, which is 17 cents away from the high that it reached on the day as well. So you're pretty much asking for a strong move from the play. And if it's able to reclaim the 21-day EMA, of course I want to see how well it would get to as far as for the 50-day moving average at 187. If you remember previously, it was around 189. So it's going to continue to come down as the stock pulls back. So be cognizant of that. So now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information from Mullen. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 25.22%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.04 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 750,000 shares, updated 20 minutes ago. And then for the short ball-free rate, it is at 4.16%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, you can see for the close of the 20th, it was at 28.96. And then for the close of the 23rd, being at 25.22. So as we scroll up and take a look at the short interest percentage of the flow being at 11.66%, what does this tell us? Mullen doesn't have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Mullen. So we see on the inflow, it's at 6.65 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 8.64 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 1.33 million, on the medium it was 4.11 million, and then on the small it was 1.21 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 2.25 million. On the medium, it was 5.02 million. And then on the small, it was 1.37 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see from May the 24th, which is today, we had that outflow of just over 917,000. And on the 23rd, we had an inflow of just over 477,000. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders, it tends to represent the retail side. We had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then for the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 9.17%. And you know what? This is not too bad for a volatile stock like Mullen. But one thing that is clear, everything is going according to plan. If you remember from my previous video, we talked about how it was looking bearish. I'll talk about it further in the final thoughts, so let's go into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, when it comes to the price action, we closed at $1, we tested a low at 95 cents, and we saw a high at $1.04. So again, it is continuing to look bearish. So the next level you want to look out for the downside. If we end up breaking through 95 cents, I want to see us testing around the high mid 80s. So that'll be around 86 to around 87. And if we break through those levels, the next area we want to look out for, of course, is 80 cents, but we want to see support coming in at around 75 to 76 cents. If you remember this area, the last time that we tested it, we had this strong bounce and we were able to go back into the $1 range. So I want to see a double bottom reversal. I want to see a repeat. If we don't have bulls stepping in the mid 70s, Mullen will pull back, and it can go back as far as 54 cents. So please add that to your homework. This is very important. If you're looking for a reversal, you want to see some strength, it needs to get back to the 21-day EMA, which is at $1.21. So that is 17 cents from the high that it had today at $1.04. So that is a lot to ask out of this play. So if it's unable to do that, that's why I say you look forward to seeing some further weakness. But if it's able to make a move up, maybe you might get a catalyst and so forth, that's where things can get interesting. We also do have the 50-day moving average, which is at $1.87. If you remember what I said in the previous video, it was around $1.89. Of course, it's starting to go down since the stock is pulling back. So now you guys know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. Figure out your strategy. Also, we went on Fintel taking a look at the recent short interest information to let you know, yes, Mullen doesn't have short squeeze potential. We see that the short percentage of the float is continuing to go down and it no longer meets our criteria whatsoever. Does this mean that, you know what, this stock is completely finished? No, it just shows that as far as short sellers are concerned, there's not as many in the play as we've had previously. And this is also could be some great news for all of my investors out there. But of course, if you are going to be investing in this stock, I highly suggest you do your research, you do your due diligence, because if the stock does decide to pull back, you'll be confident to load up on the dip. If you're not going to be confident to load up on the dip, do not buy this stock whatsoever. And if you are a trader, make sure that you're using the right risk management. Have your stop loss in place. Have a good idea of what your entry is going to be and what your exit's going to be, and have realistic expectations here. Don't just say, well, you know what, I'm buying in right now and I want to see this stock get to $2 next week. It just doesn't work that way. They need to release a catalyst to even have that sort of a move, and that catalyst would definitely have to be a strong one. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.